Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another review of Velocity Banking step by step. In fact, every single video pretty much is a step by step of how to do Velocity Banking. And I don't know if you ever heard the Bruce Lee quote, I don't fear the man who does 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who does one kick 10,000 times. And I don't know how many kicks we've done with Velocity Banking. I'm pretty sure this is my 400th and something video. I don't know. We'll reach 10,000 one day. All right. So, step by step, what do we do? First things first is ask yourself, do you have debt? If you don't have debt, you don't need Velocity Banking because what's Velocity Banking for? It's a debt payoff strategy, right? That's what Velocity Banking is for. Now, if you do have debt, there's only two requirements for Velocity Banking. Number one is a budget. I've already done the budget, okay? So once you've already done a budget like this, where you put your income, right? You get your expenses, you got your leftover savings. Now we got a good mix of debt right here. Credit card, two credit cards, student auto loan that we're more than halfway paying through. We got the rent, we got other. And I'm going to tell you what happened in the story I created here. So maybe originally we didn't have credit card debt. We just had the student auto loan. And then once we paid enough of it, we thought, oh my goodness, why don't we just get a little bit more debt? Went a little bit crazy, splurged on 12 grand. Okay. And actually, this is totally wrong because I always try to get to erase this in every demonstration. But let's see how much debt we're going to pay off. So it's 12. So equals 12 plus 38 plus 25, 75K of debt. So let's go ahead and write that down here. Okay, so we got the rent, we got all the other stuff, and the whole goal of Velocity Banking is to pay off these four debts, right? If you don't have any debt and all you have is the rent and all the other good stuff, then you don't need Velocity Banking. Okay, next thing, we need a line of credit as our main operating account. Not just a line of credit, right? But a line of credit as our main operating account. So I have tons of credit, right? I have over $258,000 in limits available for me to use in a line of credit. Well, actually, they're like, how many credit cards? Like 13? No, I got 14 credit cards, a home equity line of credit, and a personal line of credit. Okay, so I got a lot going on. Now, what we're going to do is assume that we have access to maybe a $15,000 personal line of credit. Now, I know for some of you that may seem insane, which is why it's important to build your credit and build your foundation if you're going to do a strategy like this. And here's a secret from getting credit with banks. Banks don't lend to money, or they don't lend money to people who need it, right? So many people, what happens is they get in a financial bind and then they try to do the strategy, but because they don't understand that banks don't lend people money, or they don't lend money to people who need it, they only try to borrow money when they need it, right? And that's why they don't win. And the banks don't want to do business with them. Okay, so now let's just assume we have access to a maybe a 15% personal line of credit with a $15,000 limit. So a personal line of credit is essentially like a credit card, but you can just use it to pay anything, right? Go to your local credit union and ask, do you offer a personal line of credit if it's for you? And then a business line of credit if it's for your business, right? So if you have a personal line of credit, you can use it to pay anything, anything, right? Credit cards, like, can you pay one credit card to pay another? Not one? Nope. You can do it with a personal line of credit. Can you pay the own funds from your personal line of credit to pay its own bills? Absolutely. That's how awesome a personal line of credit is. But credit cards are awesome too. That's why I have over 14 credit cards, right? Okay, so now let's go. So we did two steps, right? Now, once we have our line of credit as our main operating account, which will be our 15 grand personal line of credit, we just got to do a little bit of the refactoring or re-engineering of our expenses. So we always assume two things here on this side: no income, or I'm sorry, not no income. You don't need to make more income, even though more income is great. In fact, I don't know if you know about this YouTube channel. We make about $300 a month. It's crazy just teaching the strategy because people are so enamored by the idea that they can just pay off their debts, right? And then what we're going to do here is a lot of people, they're like, oh, you gotta have 3 to 6 months of expenses and savings. 3 to 6 months is 24 grand of expenses, right? That's not feasible, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to go here, zero savings, and we're going to do the opposite of what most people are taught to do, right? Zero savings. Why do I need savings? Because the actual velocity banking strategy is we're going to dump our entire paycheck into the line of credit, take our expenses out, and rinse and repeat over and over again. That's all we're going to do, right? And we're just going to re-engineer our expenses. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this. And because we don't have any expenses or savings, we're going to calculate the balance at which our line of credit is paid off by our cash flow, which is C2 minus C3, right? So the only difference between here and here is we're having a line of credit as our main operating account. Now let's do this, right? So we have 2 credit cards, right? So with our credit cards, they're the ones we want to pay off first because they're the highest interest and they take up most of our cash flow. So I'm going to skip steps a little bit, but so this is technically not a step by step, but what we're going to do is calculate something called the cash flow index. Okay, so I don't know if you ever heard of the cash flow index, but all it is basically a statement balance divided by the monthly payment. And let's go ahead and calculate that. So this is equal to 7000 divided 245, right? And this one, and ignore the dollar sign. Let's ignore this. Let me reformat this so that it's not a currency. Where did the number formatting go? All right, so let me take away number, and then, all right, so let's go ahead and do the cash flow index. So that's 5000 divided by 162.5, right? And then this one here, what's the current balance? You see 16,000 right here, 16000 divided by 400. And then this one is 13,000 divided by 471.18. Okay? So, according to the cash flow index model, you want to pay off the one with the lowest number, right? And if you go down here, uh, cash flow index is statement balance divided by monthly payment. Basically, by paying off this 13 grand, you're getting more bang for your buck in terms of cash flow, right? Now, with an amortized loan, the cash flow index will change, whereas with the credit card, it never changes because your credit card payment is usually going to be proportional to the debt whereas you have with an auto loan, it's going to be what's it called? The monthly payment is always going to be the same, and so because the monthly payment is always the same, the cash flow index will actually shrink, right? So let's just follow the cash flow index and move this auto loan, and we only have 13 grand in the balance to the line of credit and free up that cash flow. So 13000, right? And let's go ahead and do that. And guess what? Bam. Now we have a $1,200 in cash flow. You see how in just one move we went from 721 to 1,200. We maximized our cash flow in one move, right? So now let's go ahead and pay this sucker off. So what we do is we just calculate the next month's J2 plus 1, and then we calculate the next month's balance, which is H2, which is the previous month's balance minus plus the previous month's interest minus our cash flow number. And what's our cash flow number? It's 1192.5. Okay? And so the balance is going to go down by our cash flow number. Now, what we got to do is calculate the interest, right? So the interest is taken by the average daily balance. Take the average of the two numbers here to estimate it, multiply it by our interest rate, which is 0.15, and then divide by 12. And that's how much interest you pay after using the line of credit for every single month. Okay? And now all you gotta do is just copy and paste these formulas, right? Until we hit the red. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're almost there of paying off our car completely, and then we'll see in 1 year that 13 grand balance gone, gone. All right, sweet. So now let's go back here and 13K 13K in 12 months, right? So we paid that off. Now what we got to do is we got to follow the order which these are paid off. So after 12 months, we could take a look at the credit card calculator, right, and see how much the payment would be. This is what I'm just going to do, make it easy. We'll just assume that the payment and the balance hasn't changed, just because I want you to understand the concept and not so um, focused on the nitty gritty details, because sometimes just putting your plan in action will help you. And there's a saying that the best strategy to pay off the debt is the one you're actually going to do. So if you overanalyze and then just not do it, that's a bad sign. But let's just go here. So now let's go ahead and pay off this one and this one. And would it be $12,000 after a year? I don't know. But let's just assume that for whatever reason we're still stupid, and then now we're going to pay off, move that $12,000 here. So what we do is just do a simple debt transfer. Okay, so simple debt transfer. What happens with these two credit cards? Oh my goodness, this goes to zero and this goes to zero, right? And so now what happened? We basically almost more than doubled our money in a sense, right? We went from 721 in savings to 1600 in our cash flow. And now we have an exciting new cash flow of 1600, right? So let's go ahead and copy this number and then put minus, instead of 1192, put our new number of 1600, right? So we go down here, we see this beautiful 1600 right here. We put it in our formula, 1600, and oh my goodness, let's see how long it takes to pay this off. 20 years, right? And it's probably less because again, we're trying to do this bare bones, right? We didn't update these balances after 12 months. But so in the worst case scenario, it's 20 months, right? So 20 months to pay off 12K of debt. So this is going to be 13 plus 12 is 25K and 20 months, right? So yeah, yeah. All right. Now what we're going to do is attack this thing called the student loan, and let's figure out after how many payments, right? After, let's see, 20 months. No, it's actually more than 20 months. So here's the thing. I might actually showcase my financial calculator skills, but I may not be that good, or I'm not at that level yet. But let's just do this. So 38,000 is the original loan. So did I put that? Yeah, 38,000 is the original loan. 400 is the payment. And if you ever never use this TVM calculator, this is like a cheat sheet to figure out like how many how many payments you have left or what's your balance. But let me just go back here and see if I can do this right now, or do I need to pause this video and take a break? I don't know. All right, so the purpose of this is to figure out what the balance of the loan is. So now I'll just put in the amortization calculator. It'd be a lot easier. So let me just do this. So 38,495, and then let's go in here and 4.5% at a 10-year student loan. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate that. And then we got to find out at 16K what the balance is. So let me go to 16K. So we'll say right here, okay, and then how many months have passed? 20. So this will be 94. So the balance will be around 9 grand, right? 9 grand. So 9 grand, and then let's figure what our cash flow index is at this point in time. And then this will be 989 I'm going crazy. 9891.44. And you can see that their cash flow index changes and gets lower as we pass. So why don't we just completely pay this off? So 9891.44. So let's move that to here, to our line of credit. And let me go in here and we'll just move this to our line of credit. And let's do that. Oopsie, Excel doesn't like commas. Haha. All right. So now we moved our debt to that line of credit, and guess what? Now we have to increase our cash flow. So let's go ahead and do this and see what happens. So this is 0, right? And then now our cash flow is $2,000. So now we got to update this to $2,000, right? So minus 2000. Okay, and then let's go see how many months. Oh my goodness, 25 months to be this debt-free thing that's like, you know, what's something that's really rare in society? Is it like a Bigfoot? I mean, if you pay off all your debt, are you a Bigfoot in society? That'd be kind of weird, right? So now this is 25. So 25 months. And what did we pay off? 75K of debt, right? So 75K in 25 months. And that's just like 2 years in 1 month, right? To literally be $75,000 debt free. 2 years in 1 month. Is that crazy? What do you think? So hopefully, um, this didn't confuse you, but I know for a lot of people, I supposedly go fast, but let me actually check how much time I spent recording this video. 16 minutes. So the reason I go so fast is because, like, honestly, 16 minutes is kind of a long video. And what I want you to do is, if you want to understand strategy, just pause the video and practice it yourself over and over and over again, because that's how you get good. Again, you do one kick 10,000 times rather than 10,000 kicks once, right? Too many people are one trick ponies, and they don't, well, actually, I don't know if that actually applies to one trick ponies, because then you're doing one trick. But ignore what I said, okay? But this is Velocity Banking in a nutshell, step by step. Budget, line of credit, paycheck in, expenses out, and then we rinse and repeat over and over again. And then you also have a debt payoff strategy based on maybe that cash flow index. All right, well, this is it for today. Have a great day. It's Karina Lanta Mentorship, and we'll speak next time.